Hey everybody, we've got a beautiful snow falling down, the birds are chirping, it's not even that cold outside, and I'm here in my backyard. Why not have an outdoor video today? This is my 12th video, and I want to talk about something serious, regret. And I have regrets in my life. I've got 3 big ones, and I'll share one of them with you. The other 2 are a little too private for YouTube. But I will share one with you from my past. Again, the other 2 are a little more current as an adult, but I'll share one from my childhood just so you can get the idea. But I want to talk about how to get over these regrets and deal with them in a healthy way and move on and not let them impact us in a negative way. And I want to talk about specifically a regret of something that I've done. I'm not talking about something's been done to me and I couldn't control it. This is something I could control. I've done something to somebody else and there's pain there and guilt and regret, and I want to deal with that. A lot of times these regrets take the form of a word, and this word, you can be having a normal day, going about your day, and this word will pop into your head. You'll hear it, you'll see it, or somehow you'll think of it, and it'll impact you. It's almost like a blow, like an emotional blow, and that's what I want to talk about, how to deal with that and get over that. And your word could be almost anything. So for me, my word is 7-Eleven. Something happened at 7-Eleven. Your word could be anything. A certain prescription could be the word, or a date even. May 6th, something happened. Could be a person's name, any name. You see that person or you hear that name, bam, it can just hit you like that. It could be a location, a city, right? And when you go to that city, that memory and the guilt of that memory and pain, regret comes flooding back on you. Yeah, so you got this word and it impacts you. For me, 7-Eleven, and that's just a convenience store, a 24-hour convenience store. But when I was in grade 8, I went there and I stole some basketball cards from 7-Eleven, and I got caught eventually, and I was kicked out of that store for 6 months, and they said that they put my picture behind the counter so they knew who I was. And so yeah, there's just pain there. Every time I go back to 7-Eleven, even today, I think of, shoplifting and stealing, and it impacts me. And so how did I get over that? How do I deal with that? So step number 1, I had to write a report, an incident report. And you have to do something physical here. You can't just keep this stuff up in your head. You can't just, they tend to be thought clouds if you do that. I think this and I think this and I remember, and they're like these airy things. You have to get it more solid. So you've got to get out a paper and a pencil and you write a report. So I don't know if you've ever had an incident report at work, if you've got injured, or maybe you've seen an accident and you have to write a police report. You leave out all the emotion. You don't have to speculate and guess the motives or what people were feeling. Leave that out. Just the facts. The date that it happened, the time, and first thing, and then this, and fact after fact. And it makes it solid. It's you admitting that it happened. It's you admitting that you did it. And you got to get that on paper, okay? Leave the emotions out. Step 2, what I call it a replay or a redo or a rewind. You've got to go back in time. You've got to replay that situation, get that same piece of paper out, but you're going to add to it. So you start just what you have on paper, the same date, the same time, the same circumstances. But when you get to the part where you did that thing that you shouldn't have done, then you add. Here's how I would have done it different. Here's what I would have changed. And if I can go back in time, I would have replayed that, relived that in a different way. And you write that down. It's very important. Again, it creates this physical copy, but it makes it real to you. And now you're starting to experience remorse. It's the idea of, I want to change that. I wish I could have done it different. And that's this idea of remorse. And that sets you up for forgiveness. Now, okay? If you jump straight into forgiveness, sometimes it doesn't work. If you just say to yourself, I forgive you, and then you don't feel any different, then the forgiveness isn't real. You've got to get to the remorse stage and try and figure out exactly what you would have done different, and then you're ready to, okay, I would have done it different so I can forgive myself for what happened, because I know I wish it would have turned out differently. Okay? And I try in that stage to somehow forgive myself, and then I'm ready to move to the next stage. And this is the last stage for me anyway, and that was sharing. I have to share this with somebody. If I keep it all to myself, it doesn't work. It doesn't make it as real, and it doesn't make the remorse or the forgiveness as real. I have to share that with somebody else. And it gets tricky here, because I may not be able to share it with the person that I've hurt, okay? Either I can't share it with them, maybe they're not around anymore. I might hurt them even more if I share it with that person. So I got to be careful. I'm not saying you can't share it with that person. Maybe you can. Maybe it's a good thing and it'll bring healing for them and it's positive. Fine. But you might not be able to always do that. But you need to share it with somebody. Tell somebody your story. You can leave the names out if you want. Maybe read off of your paper how you would do it different. But sharing it kind of brings it into reality and allows it to be heard, and you've been heard, and that's a really good step, okay? So I think why I go through these steps is, again, it brings it into something more tangible instead of up in my head, and it brings it into my control, okay? So when I write those down on paper and I go through the steps of remorse and forgiveness and sharing, it means I've done it and I control it, and I can say that thing happened, it's real, and I've dealt with it, and here it is right here. And so I can take that incident, that regret, and I can actually put it on some kind of an imaginary shelf in my house, and I'm ready anytime. I'm free to talk about it. I can come back anytime because I know what happened. I did that, but I've dealt with it. And so I go and live my life. And when I see that word and the word pops into my head again, I can say, I know about that. I've taken care of it. It's right here on the shelf. I can take it out if you want. I can talk about it again if you want, but I control it. It doesn't push me around. Put it back on the shelf and get back to my life. Those are the steps that I used. Give it a try. It can't hurt, and you might even add to it and change some things and make it even a better process. That'd be really cool. But yeah, share. And I think even if you have nobody to share it with, send me a private message. I like talking about this kind of stuff. I think it's good for us to do. So that's the video this week. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.